Hey everyone, and welcome back to another build video. Today I'm building Italeri's 1/72nd scale F-35B. I had a few audio issues with my last video which I've managed to rectify, so sit back and enjoy as I bring this plane to life. The kit comes reboxed by Tamiya, but the mould's still the same. The sprues are nicely detailed with no flash, which is always good to see, and the decal sheet is high quality too, although I'll be adding some aftermarket decals to represent the 809 Naval Air Squadron. The kit was gifted to me by a friend, and as you can see, he'd already made a start on the cockpit by gluing and priming it. I gave it a coat of XF1 black from Tamiya, before then dry brushing on Mr. Hobby H51 gold grey, and this really brought the detail to life. To further enhance the detail, I used a variety of colours to paint some buttons and added the supplied seatbelt decals. Before I could glue the fuselage together, I needed to do some work on the engine. I like to cut as close as I can to the part with some sprue cutters before tidying it up with a sanding stick. In this instance, it's just a file from a supermarket with a coarse and fine side. As I wanted my F-35 to carry armament, I drilled some 1mm holes on the underside of the wing. The holes are already pre-marked, so you don't have to worry about guessing where to drill. With the engine parts ready, I then gave them a coat of the Vallejo black gloss primer. All of the sub-assemblies that needed painting were given a coat of Vallejo grey primer and painted up. With all the engine sub-assemblies painted, I could then glue the two fuselage halves together. I always dry fit before gluing, and my go-to glue is Tamiya's extra thin cement. It heats and melts the plastic, fusing it together, which creates a nice strong bond. I gave the weapons bays a coat of XF2 white, and after studying some reference pictures, decided on painting the wiring a yellow colour. I used Vallejo Iraqi sand, and to create some small contrast, Vallejo yellow ochre. There's some debate as to whether these bays would be clean or dirty, but in the end I gave them a wash with Tamiya's panel line accent colour black and scrubbed away any excess. Before I could begin painting, I still needed to finish building the plane. There are a number of sub-assemblies such as weapon mounts, hatches, landing gears and whatnot that all needed cutting from the sprue, tidying up and preparing ready for priming. It was a time-consuming job, but certainly worth it. With everything built and complete, I could begin masking parts that had already been painted. Humbrol Maskell was a great product for this, as some of the shapes and dimensions were a nightmare to mask with the tape. I finally managed to get hold of some Mr. Finishing Surfacer 1500 Black. I shot this at 20 psi with a 0.4 needle and the coverage was fantastic. To add variation and tone to the finished coat, I pre-shaded the surface by Mottling Tamiya's XF2 White. I shot this through a 0.2 needle at 15 psi. I really like Mottling, I had some great results with it on the Messerschmitt and was keen to do it again. With the exhaust, the majority of it would be hidden and not really visible, so I wanted to do some experimenting. The black gloss primer really brought out the shine of the X10 gunmetal and XF56 metallic grey. To add some heat stains, I sprayed some X27 clear rather liberally before then spraying some X23 clear blue within that, and I've got to say I was pretty chuffed with how it came out. The main coat of the aircraft was sprayed with XF24 dark grey. Again, looking at reference images, this was the closest colour I had on my bench. I began with a couple of light coats before spraying the light coat a little heavier. I was conscious all the time not to cover up the mottling and pre-shading, and again this was sprayed with a 0.4 needle at 20 psi. To help paint the radar tape, I bought the Edouard masking set CX562. This took absolutely ages as I was being as precise as I could. When it was all taped up, I could then spray XF53 neutral grey. I gave it a few light coats so no excess paint would seep through the masking. This colour may not be very accurate, but I wanted some small contrast. Before I apply any decals, I like to coat the model in X22 clear. I gave this coat 24 hours to cure before moving on. As I mentioned earlier, I was building this model for a friend. He'd also provided some aftermarket decals so the aircraft could represent 809 Naval Air Squadron. When it comes to decals, I like to cut the decal out, soak it in warm water and concurrently prepare the surface. I remove any excess water on a paper towel and carefully apply the decal before brushing on some micro sol and set at intervals to help it conform to the model. When the decals are done, I coat the aircraft again in X22 clear. To finish the models, I gave some sub-assemblies a wash before gluing them in place. I did this with the armament, although I didn't go too heavy. It was literally used as a tool to make some more detail stand out. The aircraft was still looking too clean, so I made a black wash using oil paint and enamel thinner and brushed this on with a flat brush in the direction of the airflow. After working away for a week, I returned to the bench to find one of the decals had badly silvered. Rather than just leave it, I wanted to try and rescue the damage done. As it was already looking pretty terrible, I thought, nothing ventured, nothing gained, so decided on slitting it open with a sharp knife. I didn't apply any pressure, just scored the decal to release the air pockets, and then went over the decal with some micro sol, and once I was satisfied, I sealed the aircraft up with a coat of XF86 flat clear. Well guys, thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed the build. If you'd like to support my channel, hit the like button and consider subscribing. If you'd like to know what I'm up to in between videos, you can follow me on Instagram, the link's in the description below. And once again, thanks for watching, and I'll leave you with a few images of the finished aircraft.